Hello, welcome back to Silver Thread Sewing. I'm Diane. This is Friday Sews. So I hope everyone's had a good week. I talked to you a couple days ago and showed you some of my favorite sewing books. And I had a question. I had worn a Love Notions dress, and I had a viewer who wanted to see the full length of the dress. The neckline, I had a baggy neckline, neckband. So I'm going to insert a picture for my friend that wanted to see the full length of the dress, and I'll insert that here. And while I'm doing that, I want to say thank you to Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room for starting the hashtag Friday Sews. She has started a movement, I think, and it's been wonderful. I have found so many YouTube vloggers that participate in Friday Sews, and it's just wonderful. I look forward to Fridays so I can see all my sewing friends sew and see what they're up to all around the world. It's incredible. It really is. But thank you, Jen. Thank you from all of us. So I have been working on Butterick 6662 this week. And I've been working on View C, which is the white one at the bottom with the tie front. And I've had quite the week. So I'll try to insert a close-up picture. If you look real closely, at right beneath the bow on this version, there's an open. It's open right below the bow. So I made a practice version of this when I first started it, like the first part of the week. And I could tell when I made that one that it was going to be too low. It was open all the way below my bra. I mean, it was just really, really low on me. Might not be on somebody that's got a bigger bust, or maybe somebody that's taller, or that don't have the body differences that I do, because I do have the forward shoulders, high round back, and all that. And I think I'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, the pattern. So I made a mock-up, a practice version of this shirt in just a fabric that I'd got in a Walmart bundle that I didn't really know what else to use for. And I could tell how low it was going to be. So I took my pattern piece, I traced the pattern, and I took the pattern piece, and I'll insert a picture in a second too, but I raised the center from the dot here where it was supposed to, I was supposed to sew to the large circle, and I raised it up about 1.5 inches. And then I angled my tie up a little bit farther and made it just a little bit less wide at that area, so I could accommodate to raise the neckline, to raise the closure part of it. Anyway, I thought that would be fine. So I started cutting out, or started laying out this fabric, and I had pressed it to get all the wrinkles out, and it had already been washed and dried when I first got the fabric. But when I laid it out and smoothed everything out at the ends, at both ends of that fabric, it had been cut crooked. I probably had 4 inches on part of that fabric on one end, and probably 3 on the other end, 2 or 3 on the other end, that was crooked. It was to the point I couldn't use that. When I straightened the grain and got everything laid out, it was just cut really badly. The size 14, it calls for 2 yards. So I was already short, and that made me have even less. And the pattern piece where you have to cut the tie, all this is one piece, so I really couldn't get anything else. This was 60 wide, but I couldn't get another piece next to the front. So it took a whole area for that. Anyway, I went ahead and cut it out, and I had to cut the sleeves at a little bit of an angle so they're not 100% on grain. I can't tell that it really made any difference. I was real careful not to stretch them since they were kind of on the bias at points. But you know, I can't tell that it hurt anything, but it did cause me a little frustration having to try to figure out how to cut it. So when I put it together, it was still too low. It actually seemed lower than it did before I raised it. It was just so low. And so I have fussed with that and fiddled with that longer than I should have. I was really starting to get just aggravated with it. But what I wound up doing was I went ahead and sewed everything together and put the sleeves in. And I wound up sewing up past the bow. And if you can, I'm sure you can tell, now it's closed up higher and the bow doesn't sit at the top. So it looks strange. It looks strange, but I just wouldn't have worn it that way. I wouldn't have worn it so low. And I told you when I started this little channel that I would always be honest with you about my experiences, failures, and successes. And I kind of consider parts of this to be a fail because I'm not saying it's anything to do with the pattern. It's usually me because I confuse Jello. I mean, that's just how I am. I can get very confused very easily, and anything that I'm not used to doing. So it probably was just me, but I wouldn't have worn it with it being open that far down. Even when I tied the bow, it was still very low. So I've just got this part pinned, but I seamed up through both ties from the bottom up and closed all that up. And now it's kind of, there's some bulk in around this bow, and it's droopy. I had a droopy neckline Wednesday, and now my bow's droopy. But I don't like it. I don't like it. It feels heavy, and it almost feels like it drags the shirt down in front a little bit. I'll put some pictures of how it looks. And one thing and this is kind of a question, if anybody knows what I need to do to fix this, I would be grateful if you would tell me. It seems like when I make something, if it doesn't hang right or it doesn't quite feel right, I can do this. Take the shoulders and just pull it up. And everything kind of goes where it's supposed to. The waist is hitting right at the waist. The hem, usually it straightens that out so it's wider at the hip. And that's all it takes, is just picking it up off my shoulders. So I'm thinking, and tell me if there's something else I should be, if I'm missing something. But if I shorten something at the lengthen and shorten lines, that doesn't seem to help. So what I'm thinking I need to do is shorten it in this part, because that would raise everything below that up. And I usually do raise the armhole on most of my big 4 patterns by about 1 inch. This one, when I did the mock-up, it seemed like it wasn't very low. It wasn't as low. So I only raised the armholes up by 1/2 inch on this one and did the forward shoulder adjustment. Anyway, I'm not going to wear this like it is. I don't like the bow. I don't like the way it sticks out. I don't like the way it's not sitting at the top. If I make this pattern again, if I do, I would probably either make the version that has the ruching, or I would redraft it somehow to raise everything up, to bring the neckline up and to put the bow back at the top like it's supposed to be. But I'm not sure how to go about doing that, so I don't know if I will make it as is again or not. I like the sleeves, I like the fit, I like the hem, I like all the things about it, except I don't like the way this bow is now, and I didn't like the low neck. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm just going to unpick the facing on the inside of this and unpick everything down below the bow. I'm going to take all that apart and see if I can just sew the front up and make this just a V-neck pull over top and do away with my bow friend, because I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks and don't like the way it hangs. So anyway, I think I just am in love with this, the way it looks on the pattern. I just love it. But I don't feel like this looks like this. So that is my experience with Butterick 6662. And I'm just being honest with you as far as my experience. Probably nobody else would have that problem, I hope. But I have not gotten along good with it. Two quick things. I had, I don't buy a whole lot of stuff, generally, just, you know, thread and things like that, and when I need it. But I had found a couple things I had seen. I don't remember where I had heard about this, but I had saw this Dritz Taylor's chalk sharpener, and you just take your, hang on, let me get a piece of chalk. So this is a Dritz Taylor's chalk sharpener, and you just take your little wedge of Taylor's chalk, put it right there, and drag it through, and it will resharpen the point, the little sharp edge on your Taylor's chalk. And I thought, you know, that would be great because they do dull pretty fast. And I think this was $8, I believe is what I gave for this, and I ordered it from Amazon. I know a lot of people don't like Amazon, but where I live, you know, if I can't get it from waywack.com, Amazon's about the only other choice I have. You may be able to pick it up at like Joann or Hobby Lobby or your local sewing place. I don't know, but I do like it a lot. And it has a little, this little area down here on the bottom holds the dust that comes off this. So, you know, it's got a little door that you can empty it. But just got that, and I think I'm going to like it. And I had ordered this sewing project planner book, and it was $7.99. $7.99. And it has a place to put a lot of stuff, information that I wouldn't use. It has like project number, deadline, name, used for, sewing pattern, theme. And it also has a little area you can put a fabric swatch of what fabric you made the garment or the item in, and some other information, but you can write whatever you want to. I've only used one page so far. I haven't put this in yet, but I had put the Love Notions ballad blouse that I made last week, and I put just a little block of the fabric so I would remember. I used to hear people say that, oh, I wrote down everything so I wouldn't forget, or I put a swatch of the fabric, and I would think, I don't think I need that. I can remember what I made, what pattern I used, and what fabric I used, but you know what? I can't remember anymore. I've gotten absent-minded, I guess, but I have trouble, and I'll think, now, what pattern did I use? I don't remember. I don't remember what pattern I used for that, or what fabric, or which dress is that, you know. So I got this, and I thought it was a great idea, but, you know, you could probably make one out of just a notebook or something and just write your information in, and some people may do that. But I found this one, and it wasn't real expensive, so I decided to try it out. So far, so good. I think that's all I've got. Again, I just wanted to come on and tell you about my top and how I had gotten along with that, and I'm still working on the other ones. I haven't got anything else cut out yet because I've really got stuck on my bow. My bow hung me up this week, so I will hopefully get this sorted out maybe today. I'm still working on spring cleaning. I've got all my curtains down throughout the house and got them all washed, but now I have to starch them and iron them, and we've got the windows washed, so that's the start. But it's been rainy and dreary and cloudy and cool. I think it's in the low 60s here, and just dark and dreary and damp. And I don't like to clean unless I can open the doors and windows, and I like a nice breeze coming through. And yeah, so that's my excuse for today. So tomorrow it will be something else, no doubt. But I hope everyone's well, and thanks so much for your kind comments and for liking my little videos and for watching them. I really do appreciate it, and I've really enjoyed keeping up with people, and I'm starting to recognize some names now. And I just thank you all so much. And again, thanks to Jen for starting the hashtag. See you next week. Bye.